Time now for everybody's favorite guessing game, What's My Line? Brought to you by New Stop It, America's leading spray deodorant. Now with its anti-immunity factor. Poop, perspiration. Now let's all play What's My Line? And now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose article on movie personalities appears in the current Screenland magazine, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, the charming and humorous young gentleman who stars in his own comedy program 5 nights a week here in New York, Mr. Steve Allen.
Thank you, Dorothy. And on my left, filling in for our vacationing Arlene Francis, is one of the loveliest ladies in radio and television, Miss Faye Emerson.
Arlene. And on my left, a man who bounces around the country more than a candidate for the U.S. Senate, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Say, I promised the people up at Corning, New York, that I'd say that the glass that's made up there is pronounced Steuben glass, and not Steuben glass. Gosh, that'll change your whole life, won't it? On my left, our famous panel moderator, whose answers are sometimes as confusing as those we're hearing in the investigation in Washington, Mr. John Daly.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. Tonight, we have again some visitors with the will of spring in them and a will to beat this panel at their own game. They've brought some interesting occupations, and I think the panel's going to have a pretty tough time tonight. We hope so that our guests will both enjoy themselves and carry home a small prize. We'll have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later on. But now I think it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger. So would you sign in, please, sir? Max? Max Fogle, is that right, sir? Don't you want the cameras to be able to see you?
Thank you.
Huh? I'm sure the family must want to see you, because after all, there's more than one reason for being with us. Mr. Fogle, where are you from?
From Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn, New York. I think you're a wee bit nervous, and I think you don't have to be nervous, because there's always somebody from Brooklyn here. You've got friends and neighbors all around you. And all those people basically are from Manhattan, and so they're your friends, too, but they'd like to get a better look at you. So will you go over and see them?
How do you do, Mr. Fogle? How are you? Looking at his ring.
Have to be sure he keeps it.
How are you?
I'm sure.
All right, Mr. Fogle, if you come over here now, please, and sit down next to me. I think perhaps you know that at this point, we give the panel one free guess as to what your line may be, because they have had a chance to meet you, shake hands with you, and get something of a look at you. Would you come in a bit closer, comfortably, to be sure, but that's your microphone, and you have to approach it as you would perhaps a friend, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get on with the free guesses, which we always begin with Miss Kilgallen.
I think Mr. Fogle is a friendly bartender.
A friendly bartender. Mr. Allen.
I think he's a vice president in charge of washing hands at one of those neighborhood hand laundries.
Miss Emerson.
I think he's a spy for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, Mr. Cerf.
I think he wrote that poem came on Fliegel Gefogel.
No, I'm afraid not. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Mr. Fogle of Brooklyn, New York, and at the same time we'll tell them what his line is, but the panel has to dig. Mr. Fogle, you know how we score. Every time I flip a card, you have a no answer, and we get 10 of these flips, and you've won the game. All set?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Fogle is self-employed, and let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
More often than not, sir, there's a product involved in the livelihood of our guests. Is there a product connected with your work?
Yes, indeed.
Is it something I could use? Could I use it, Mr. Fogle?
Could you use it?
Yes.
I'll give it right back, whatever it is. Could Faye and Dorothy also use it?
Yes.
Might this product be described as being worn in any way?
Yes.
compared at least to a bulldozer or a pound of salami or something like that, is this a relatively personal product?
Yes.
And am I right in assuming that this is something that you would put on, if you put it on at all, in relative privacy?
Yes.
From the laughter of the audience, I gather that this is something that you would prefer that the folks did not even know you were wearing.
I would think that Mr. Fogle has asked me to give an opinion. I would say that it's something that you wouldn't exactly boast about putting on, you know. You'd kind of keep it to yourself.
Might this product in any way make one more attractive to a member of the opposite sex?
Yes.
It might. It might. Under certain circumstances, it might.
I suppose, as usual, I'm getting laughs and learning nothing here. I'll get right to the point of what I'm thinking of. Could you possibly leave this thing in a glass of water overnight?
No.
1 down and 9 to go. Miss Emerson.
Mr. Fogle, in the sense that this is worn, I believe, would it be called an article of apparel?
No.
Roughly?
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Well, Mr. Fogle, might this be prescribed possibly by a doctor for your health in some way?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Kilgallen.
Well, when it is worn, does it touch the skin of whoever is wearing it or whatever is wearing it?
Yes.
Could this be worn by a whatever rather than a whoever?
Could this be worn by a whatever rather than a whoever? And I would say, not so how whomsoever. 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Allen.
And this is worn by a human being?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Goodness. Is it visible when it is worn? I mean,
Is it what?
I don't know. Is it what?
Is it visible when it's worn?
Yeah. Can it be seen if you were walking down Fifth Avenue wearing one?
If you just chose to walk down Fifth Avenue wearing one of these, yeah, you could see it.
And it would be worn outside of the clothing. On the,
I beg your pardon? Are you asking if it would be worn outside the clothing?
You're frightening me, John. Yes, I'm asking, would it be worn on the outside of the clothing?
Yes.
Would it be worn above the waist?
Yes.
Above the neck?
Yes.
From the scalp on down?
Yes.
Would it have anything to do with the hair or the head?
The hair or the head?
What happened to the hair on the head of the man?
No.
No. 5 down and 5 to go. I'm going to give you one more minute, panel, because I don't think you have even a gleam of an idea about this one. Miss
Got
Emerson.
it down to the face.
Well, is it an appurtenance or an appliance of some kind that helps boost some natural thing that the faculty, thank you, that is not as good as it used to be?
I mean, it helps you to...
That's confusing, I know.
Is it an appliance or some device which helps you boost a natural facility?
I would think no for that
thank you.
one.
6 down and 4 to go.
Now, Mr.
Cerf.
Fogle, we've got it located above the neck and not used on the scalp or the head.
That's
Right?
right.
That means it's somewhere around the face. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is it the upper part of the face?
No.
Above the nose. No, I'm going to
How do you
flip
know what
the-
I mean by the upper part of the face?
I'm going to flip them all in because I don't think you've got the idea at all. Actually, Mr. Fogle manufactures an anti-snoring device which you tie under your chin here. Keep your mouth closed. It looks like, just for my male colleagues in the panel, I have had a look at a picture. It looks like one of those beauty masks. You know, get your jaw up there, you can't get your mouth open so you can't snore. It's one of those types. And Mr. Fogle, you've won the full prize, and deservedly so, and our thanks for being a very interesting guest in What's My Line. Nice to see you, sir. Good night. Good to see you. All right, panel, you've had a real tough beginning, but perhaps you will do very well with our second challenger. So would our second challenger sign in, please? Abraham Moss. Is that right, sir? A very firm and bold hand, panel, I'll have you note. And would you tell us where you're from, sir?
From England.
From England. Well, that's wonderful. We haven't had anybody from overseas as a challenger for some time. So would you be good enough to go over and let the panel at least get a look at you?
London, sir? England?
England, yes.
London?
How do you do, sir? I think I'm just going to feel your muscle. You look like a man of action.
How do you do, sir? And I think I'm going to feel your muscle.
All right, Mr. Moss, will you come over here, please, now, sir, and sit down next to me? I think perhaps you will have to have explained to you some of our rules. At this point, on the basis that the panelists had a chance to meet you very briefly, we give them one free guess as to what your line may be, and we begin the free guess as always with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he's a solicitor.
A solicitor, Mr. Allen.
Judging from the blackboard, I'm sure he's a printer.
Miss Emerson.
I think he's a sailing man.
Mr. Cerf.
Well, I was a rolling stone and I ain't gathered this moors.
We'll let that pass for the silent moment and get on with the rest of the program. Nobody has it, so we'll let our viewers have a further look at Mr. Abraham Moss from England, and at the same time, we will tell them what his line is. And now, Mr. Moss, what happens at this point is every time you can give the panel a no answer, we flip one of these cards. 10 of these flips, and you have won the game. Mr. Moss is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. Moss, do you deal in services?
Yes.
Do you come in contact with people?
Yes.
Is that part of your job, coming in contact with both men and women?
Yes.
Do you ever engage in public functions?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's general. You
Oh,
understand
yes,
the question?
public function.
Yes, public
yes.
function.
Yes.
Do you by any chance work for a non-profit-making organization?
Yes.
Why is that so funny? Is it some branch of the government?
Yes.
It's a British government, I take it.
Are you speaking now of the British national government?
No, I'm not.
Aren't you anything?
I was thinking of perhaps something on a slightly less than national level, like a city or a township government.
Are you asking the question, is it municipal government, town government?
Get the card ready, John. I'm asking if it's something other than the federal government, if they call it that, or the national government. I guess
Yes.
it's that. Are you then connected in some way with a city or town?
Yes.
You look very important. Do you hold an important position in that town?
Well, I shan't be said to be modest if I say yes.
Actually, it is an important position, yes.
Do you wear any robes of office at any time?
Yes.
Does your office have a chain? Do you ever wear a chain around your neck?
Yes.
Are you a mayor?
Yes.
That's wonderful. I think we'll have to give it to you.
You're not going to
Actually,
make me
would not-
find out from where, are you?
No, I don't think that would be quite fair because we didn't define exactly the location of Mr. Moss's dwelling. Would you like to take just a guess? We'll tell you it's not London. Let's see how quickly you can figure it out.
Well, is it a famous English town?
Very famous.
Is it something like Coventry?
No,
Steve?
Manufacturing town, is it?
Yes.
to some degree.
Nottingham?
Nottingham, did you say? No.
Manchester or Birmingham?
Yes.
Manchester is right. And then we flip a few more cards just because it was England. You know, you didn't say England. Well, I must say that it's very nice, my Lord Mayor of Manchester, to have you in America, but even much more pleasant to have you here on What's My Line. What brought you to our shores?
Thank you very much. I came here with the first air link between Manchester and New York. That has been opened by the British Overseas Airways, the BOAC.
Oh, you mean they're flying, BOAC is now flying Manchester, New York in the same sense that they used to do New York, London. You can
That's
do
right,
a direct
yes.
flight
Manchester is now directly in contact with New York.
Well, that's fine. I can't but be sure that New York will prosper and benefit by this direct relationship, and I hope that you feel that Manchester will, too.
Yes, I think it'll be very nice for us to be able to come together so much quicker.
Right. Thanks to BOAC, we will be able to. Thanks very much, sir, for being our guest. It was nice to have you. And now we come to that special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. My friends in the panel always have blindfolds for this part of the program. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of the mystery challenger, we dispense with all of the usual preliminaries and get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Faye Emerson.
That was very extended applause. Are you someone very much in the public eye?
Rather.
In other words, you appear a good deal before the public.
I do?
Are you in any sense in the field of entertainment?
I'd say I am, yes.
Have you appeared on television before?
Yes?
Have you also appeared in other branches of the entertainment industry?
A few, I would say, yes.
Have you appeared on the silver screen?
The what screen?
Oh, all right. Have you been in pictures?
In moving pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Have you also been in the theater?
Yes, I have.
Have you done a picture that would have played in, let us say, on Broadway in the last year?
Indeed, I have.
No, you mustn't get into a lady's age. That would be very naughty. Do you have you appeared regularly on television?
On and off, yes.
But I take it you
the
don't...
sponsor's disposition?
Depending on the sponsor's disposition.
But then I take it that you do not have your own regular television show now.
Oh, I have my show now.
So did you get a no for that, Miss Faye? You asked
right.
that on a yes or no basis. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
When you say you have a show now, does it you mean that it appears regularly on television at this time?
Yes, it does.
Well, let's give a loud cheer for CBS. Does it appear on this network?
We're not permitted to say anything about the network.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, is it a program with a plot rather than a variety show? Well, we're not vaudevillians.
What did she say?
I would
You're
think you
not-
could describe this as being a program with a plot, not a vaudeville or variety show, yes.
Is it, let's see, what are they? Half hour, aren't they? Is it a half-hour weekly show?
Yes, yes, it is.
And is it a comedy program?
Well, it varies.
Have you also appeared in musical comedies on the Broadway stage?
Not on the Broadway stage.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you do the comedy on the program?
I beg your pardon?
Nothing personal, I'm sure. I say, do you personally contribute towards the laughter on the program?
I try to.
Are you the program's out-and-out star? Maybe John would have to answer that.
Yes, I believe I am.
You are then a comedian?
Oh, occasionally.
Girls are funny on the other network. Let me see.
Not too funny.
Oh, dear. About 18 names in mind here. My goodness. Am I correct in guessing that you have not been in motion pictures for the past 2 or 3 years?
Oh, you're wrong. I made a picture last year.
That's 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Emerson.
Is this the voice that you use in your program?
No, it is not.
Do you use an accent in the character you play? In your
Yes, I
program?
do.
Oh, is it by any chance from the north of Europe?
The north of what?
The north of Europe, the accent.
No.
Oh, 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
You were thinking Peggy Wood, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, well, she
Like-
was in musical shows in New York. You use an accent that is not from the north of Europe. Is it an accent, then, that is from the southern part of Europe?
No.
No.
4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Oh,
Well, I'm dead. I guess I've been watching the wrong program.
Oh, could we have a conference?
yes,
You
let's
may
have a
have
conference.
20 seconds
She
per
might be a
time.
hillbilly girl.
It could be a hillbilly and it could be a southerner. Or Brooklyn.
Is this by any chance a family show?
Who is it, by the
Is
way?
it Molly Goldberg by any chance?
Oh, they got it in a second. Good fun. We haven't been that fun in years. Actually, I had a rule on something there. You got that in a conference, and you had it confirmed by our happy audience, which was a fine idea, but Dorothy was supposed to be asking the question.
I was glad not to be on. Thank you, Steve.
I'm sorry.
No,
It was
I-
dark in there and I lost my head.
Well, I can't think of a better day to have Miss Gertrude with us, you know. This is Mother's Day, and it's grandmother and mother Berg with us today. And the program is every Tuesday evening, as I dare say you will all remember now, on another network which shall go nameless, but is called Dumont. What?
I'm particularly embarrassed, John, not to have done a little bit better on Molly Goldberg because I've just finished reading my father's series of articles on her.
Would Miss Goldberg use, would you use the accent we know now for just
What
a
do you want me
sentence?
to say, darling? I thought you were going to ask me whether I was from the north of New York. That would be the Bronx.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you have it?
Ask some more questions, because I want to hear a little bit more of Molly Goldberg.
Well, I am so ashamed that I didn't recognize her. Molly Goldberg knows that I'm her greatest fan. I claim that honor.
Thank you.
I have one question I'd like to ask John. What does our next guest do for a living?
I'm not going to tell you, so there's no point in asking, Steve.
Miss Goldberg, this is the first week in a long time we haven't guessed Rhonda Fleming.
Well, I have never heard a voice as deep and gracious as yours, driven so high, and it stayed up there. The one thing that I thought you might get is every once in a while, Miss Gertrude would have to clear her throat because the strain of that high pitch was too much, and I'm hoping you think it was me rather than her. I don't know what you did think, but our thanks for being our guest. I can't think of a happier
was
guest
fun
on
and I enjoyed
Mother's
it.
Day. Nice to have you with us. And until next week, this is John Daly saying good night, Miss Dorothy.
Good night, Mr. John. And if Arlene's watching, good night, Arlene. Good night, Steve.
Good night, Dorothy. Good night, Arlene. Good night, boys. Good night,
Everybody.
girls. Good night, everybody. And Faye, you did a wonderful job tonight.
Oh, thank you. Come home, Arlene. Good night, Bennett. Behave yourself in Canada
Well, it's
next week.
going to be tough. There are a lot of booksellers up there. They're very alluring. Good night, John.
Thank you. And Miss Faye, may I say, too, that you were a very sprightly panelist, and you did us all very proud, and it was very nice to have you with us.
Thank you,
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?